Your name, please?
William Easter.
Mr. William Easter.
Right.
Your passport, please.
Do I have to go through this rigmarole every time?
Regulations, sir.
Beastly nuisance, I call it.
You'll receive your American visa in Lisbon.
Will there be time?
Definitely.
We seem to have cut our time pretty close, Sir Henry.
Have you a word, Sir Henry?
Do you wish to make any comments, sir?
Sir Henry, what is your destination, New York or Washington?
I'm sorry, I have nothing to say.
Sir Henry Marchmont, official business.
Oh, Sir Henry Marchmont.
Sir Henry, Joe?
Good luck, Sir Henry.
Thanks, I may need it.
Shall I take your case, sir?
Definitely not.
Sir Henry, don't mind.
Sorry,
I see. You think the old boy carried the fate of the Empire in that little black case?
Perhaps he does.
Time's up, boys. Roll it away. Lively now.
Hey, just a moment. You're shy of one passenger.
Hold on. Wait a bit. Wait, I say. I've got passage.
Yes, all right. Your name, sir?
Grayson's the lane. John Grayson, senior clerk, Paro, Nash and Paro, solicitors, Chancery Lane. You've got it all there. Everything quite regular. Sorry to delay you. Missed the bus. Had to take a taxi. Fearful nuisance.
Yes, sir. Hop aboard, will you? We're late now.
Thanks. Thanks awfully. Sorry to delay. Thanks awfully.
Right-ho, boys. Roll it away.
Excuse me, sir. Awfully sorry.
Quite all right.
No sense of balance. None whatever. Thanks. Clumsy of me. No sense of balance. That's what it is. Effect of the inner ear, I fancy.
When I read that you were en route to Washington, Sir Henry, I just couldn't rest until I found you. Now, when can you dine with us?
Very kind, Mrs. Jellison. I'll put you first on my unofficial list.
Oh, I have a much better idea. You must let me put you up during your stay.
Thanks very much,
Washington
but-
is so crowded. I'll put you in the blue room.
Come in.
Thank you, sir.
But if Sir Henry isn't the one, who is?
I don't know. But the head received a cable from London tipping him off. It's up to us to find the real British agent before this train reaches Washington.
Yeah. Whoever's got the document will be protected there.
If Sir Henry isn't carrying it, I've got it. Besides Sir Henry and myself, only one man has come all the way from London. The chap called Grayson, John Grayson.
Oh, and Grayson's our man.
Grayson's carrying the document, while Sir Henry's being used as a decoy. It's so old, it's new. When Grayson leaves the club car and goes to get his luggage, that's our cue.
We know what to do, Easter.
Good. That's Grayson standing at the bar. The little fellow.
Excuse me, sir.
Don't give it a thought, brother. I'm in politics. I'm used to hard knocks. I'm Henry Babcock, Senator Babcock.
How do you do? John Grayson.
Sit down, Grayson. Have a glass of grape juice from my home state. Used to know a man named Grayson. Mighty fine man. He was murdered. 2 grapes, George.
Fire, sir.
This book has got me all confused. I do wish you'd set me straight on the international situation.
Rather large order, I'm afraid.
Oh, you're so right, Sir Henry. One must take the broader view, I always say.
Another grape juice, Grayson. You can't have too many vitamins, I always say.
Thanks, Senator. But if you don't mind, I'll have a whiskey and soda.
Why, sure. George, bring him over, will you?
Yes.
Let's get a chair. I was built for comfort.
Jolly little beggars, what? Kept so myself as a lad, till Mother got a cat.
Shh. Don't say D.
Oh, sorry. Permit me, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. Very kind, I'm sure.
Pardon me, sir.
Here we are.
Porter,
Yes, sir?
are we on time?
Yes, sir. Be in Washington in 20 minutes.
By the way, Grayson, what's your line?
Line?
Yeah, what business you in? What's your racket?
Oh, I represent a London legal firm, Paolo, Nash & Paolo.
Paolo. I used to know a man named Paolo. No, it was Marlowe. Couldn't have been the same fella.
No, I suppose not.
I've been making a tour of my state, getting the opinions of the home folks, taking a lot of their ideas back to Washington.
I'd like to hear more of your activities, Senator.
Give me your address, sir, and I'll have all my speeches mailed to you.
You're quite too kind, sir. Sorry I have no card.
Oh, Porter.
Yes, miss?
Permit me.
Thank you very much.
Not at all. I'll be at this address for the next week or so. I hope.
Thank you. I'll get my papers together. Pleasant meeting, my friend. Better look me up in Washington.
I'll just get my bag.
Thank you. Oh, I forgot to pay George. Excuse me, sir. Well, what's the matter with the lights?
Just a little blackout. Keep your seat. Just a little blackout. Keep your seat.
Mice!
Oh, dear. All gone.
Nancy, darling.
I didn't dream you'd be able to meet me.
I got leave.
Oh, darling, that's wonderful.
Just 3 days.
Oh, that's awful.
We haven't a second to lose. First thing I did
As I was saying, Sir Henry.
was get this.
Oh, this finger.
Well, I haven't had much experience. Look, day after tomorrow, your aunt's giving us a reception. Until then, you and I are going to be a couple of busy people.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Goodbye.
Who's your boyfriend?
You needn't worry. He just lit a cigarette for me.
This is the BBC News Bureau, broadcasting from London. At this time, we present our regular morning summary of the news. A British subject has disappeared under curious circumstances. John Grayson, senior clerk in the firm of Parlow, Nash & Parlow, solicitors, Chancery Lane, has not arrived at his firm's representatives in Washington. Foul play is suspected.
Deplorable. Simply deplorable. It's the sort of thing that shakes your faith, by Jove. I say, Holmes, shakes your faith in everything.
You alarm me, Watson. I've never seen you affected by the news, however startling.
Startling, my dear fellow, it's devastating. Seen the scores? The Navy got 428 for 6 wickets against the Army at Lord's.
May I draw your attention to the fact that really momentous things are happening in the world today?
I know all about that. I'll get to them later on.
Excuse me.
Mind my egg, Old Bean.
Oh, I'm sorry. With your consuming interest in the game, I'm surprised that you've changed your mind about running up to Lord's cricket ground this afternoon.
It can't be helped. I had to put it off. How did you know I changed my mind?
Elementary, my dear Watson. Invariably, when you go to a cricket match, you fill your flask with my best whiskey. Just now I noted in passing that the flask was empty. A single whiff informed me that it had been recently filled. Obviously, after filling it, you would pour the contents back into the bottle. Therefore, you had changed your mind about a cricket match.
You amaze me, Holmes. You positively amaze me.
Come in, Mrs. Hudson.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Holmes. There's a gentleman, and he's very insistent. Well, I do declare he followed me right up the stairs. Didn't I ask you to wait?
My good woman, you may ask me to wait, but not the British Empire. Mr. Holmes, I must talk to you immediately.
How are you, Mr. Arons? That will be all now, thank you, Mrs. Hudson.
My good woman, indeed.
Arons? I seem to know that name.
Don't tell me, my dear Watson, that you don't recognize Mr. Arons of the Home Office.
Oh, yes, of course. I knew you the moment you came in. How are you, Arons?
How do you do?
Did you see what the Navy did to the Army at Lord's yesterday?
All right, Watson, go on with your breakfast.
Bad show. 428, 6 wickets.
Mr. Holmes, I'm here on a matter of the utmost secrecy.
Now, I assure you, Mr. Arons, that Dr. Watson is the very soul of discretion. Won't you sit down? By the way, Watson, please be so good as to keep tapping on the table with your knife.
Tapping on the table, no?
It will break the wavelengths if by any chance there's a dictograph in the walls.
Oh, really?
Cigarette?
No, thank you.
You can stop now, Watson. Well, Mr. Arons, I take it you've called on me in connection with the kidnapping of John Grayson in America last night.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Grayson was carrying a document of a very confidential nature.
Indeed.
Its contents are of such great international importance that I am not at liberty to reveal them. But if that document falls into the hands of the enemy, I can only say it will be absolutely disastrous for this government and our allies. For that reason, we did not wish to transport it to Washington in the usual way. So, a regular King's messenger, Sir Henry Marchmont, was dispatched.
Not carrying the document, of course.
That's right. Sir Henry was a sort of...
sort of red herring, shall we say?
Precisely.
Mm-hmm.
The document was actually entrusted to a reliable but insignificant man in our Secret Service. On his arrival in Washington, he was to make himself known to Sir Henry and deliver the document. Now, not even Sir Henry knew that this man, Pettibone, who traveled under the name of John Grayson, was the real messenger.
Pettibone?
Yes.
Alfred Pettibone?
Yes.
Good man. None better. I've worked with him often.
I hope you may be able to work with him again. But he's completely disappeared. He's vanished, gone, without leaving a trace.
I can see the possibility of serious ramifications in his disappearance.
Exactly. So far, we've been able to keep the knowledge of our loss from both the American and British public. Holmes, you must retrieve that document before it can be used against us. Of course, the Washington police have been notified of Grayson's disappearance, but even they don't know that he was carrying the document. Now, that's about all the detail I'm at liberty to give you.
Well, if they've got Grayson, that is Pettibone, they must have got the papers.
Not necessarily, Watson. It doesn't follow because they've got the man, they've got the document. What form was this document in?
It was typed on 2 sheets of legal paper.
2 sheets? That's too bulky to swallow.
And dry, Watson. Fearfully dry. Especially legal papers. Well, whatever shape the document was in, I trust Pettibone to get rid of it before anyone could lay hands on him.
The document must be found before it falls into the hands of our enemies. I'm here on behalf of His Majesty's government to urge you to find it.
That means going to Washington, of course.
With all possible speed. A bomber is waiting for you at Croydon. Goodbye, Dr. Watson.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, Adams.
Goodbye, Holmes.
Good luck. Thanks very much.
We're relying on you.
Well, Watson, we're off to Washington at once.
America? I say, that's exciting. I've never seen a game of baseball. Let's go and start packing at once.
First, I'd like to take a look at the home of Alfred Pettibone. Come on, Watson.
Why, Dr. Watson, what a surprise. And Mr. Holmes, won't you come in?
Thank you.
I'm frightfully sorry, but you won't find my son in. He's gone to Washington. Some business or other.
Poor fellow, I'm afraid that he'll never get used to the climate over there.
Would you mind if we looked over your son's room?
Why, of course. It's upstairs.
Thank you.
Some friends tell me it's very, very muggy, very sticky. So I had a letter from Philadelphia the other day.
Find his room in a dreadful pickle, Mr. Holmes. Quite miffed he is. If I as much as put my nose inside. As if I cared anything about his silly old collection.
This sort of Pettibone seems a curious sort of fellow. Sort of collector of collections. Postage stamps. Military buttons. Butterfly. I don't know. Bugs. Snapshots. All sorts of rubbish.
Yes, I shall write a monograph someday on the noxious habit of accumulating useless trivia. Please be so good as to stop pacing, Watson. You distract me.
All right, all right.
Unless I'm greatly mistaken, our friend Pettibone did not carry 2 pages of legal paper when he left this room.
I wouldn't be too sure, Holmes. Ashes are deceptive, you know.
On the contrary, my dear Watson, the rag used in our official documents leaves an ash that is unmistakable. Oh, do stop pacing.
I'm not pacing. I haven't moved an inch.
I'm sorry, old fellow. My error.
Must be Mrs. Pettibone. Heavy woman, light on her feet.
Doesn't follow. Our friend seems to be quite a camera enthusiast. What's this? Cook F1.5. That's a very fast lens. F3.5. Summer. Copying setup. American match folders.
That's right. USA.
Now, why would Pettibone want American match folders in his work? And a microscope. Most interesting. Oh, what's this? Watson, this microscope was last used for examining microfilm. I'm beginning to see the pattern.
Stop now.
Did you know that the letters of our soldiers overseas are being photographed on microfilm so that one carrier pigeon can carry the equivalent of 18,000 letters?
Oh, really? We had a carrier pigeon in the last war. Back in 1915, belonging to the Brigade Signal Corps.
Did you?
Yeah, the poor bird kept flying round and round in circles all day long. Found out later on that it was cross-eyed. Tragic thing. Huh? Perfectly true. Where are you going? Huh? Oh, dark room, huh?
This is what I was looking for.
Huh?
This projector magnifies tremendously anything placed on the slide, like this piece of microfilm. Understand?
I can't say I do exactly, no.
Wait a minute. I'll show you what he's photographed.
Oh, it's a match folder. What do you want to photograph that for?
Probably to line up his equipment before he photographed the document. We've got it, Watson.
Oh, have we?
Yes. Come along.
Oh, it's all as clear as mud to me.
Just as I thought. This document has been reduced to microfilm to make its concealment possible. Alfred Pettibone is a most ingenious fellow. A bulky document is obviously difficult to conceal. But 2 pages of estate paper, photographed on microfilm, would be reduced to a size no larger than a halfpenny stamp. Slitting a match folder with this razor blade, Pettibone placed the now minute document inside, stuck it together again, and there he had it. An American match folder, rare in London, but completely inconspicuous in the United States.
Do you mean to say we're off to America just to look for a match folder? It's a big country.
A big country, Watson. And a small match folder. Come along.
Did you find what you were looking for, Mr. Holmes?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Pettibone. By the by, you haven't been up on the roof in the last 20 minutes, have you?
Why, no. What made you think...
Well, we distinctly heard footsteps.
Nonsense, Watson. It was the house settling.
Gracious, yes. Such popping and groaning. We're quite used to it.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
Goodbye, Mrs. Pettibone.
Goodbye, Dr. Watson.
Goodbye.
So sorry you missed Alfred. I'll tell him the minute he gets back.
Gets back? Oh, yes, of course. Well, goodbye again, Mrs. Pettibone.
Just a minute, Watson. That was no accident, I assure you, Watson.
Well, aren't you going to find out who did it?
Time's too precious now. But at least I know they've learned of my entry into the case.
They? Who are they?
The same group that took Alfred Pettibone off the train on his way to Washington. A group that will stop at nothing to get their hands on the document he carried. Their leader is a clever, resourceful criminal who seems to have sources of information from everywhere.
Oh, that means a worldwide organization. Who'll stop at nothing, you say?
Quite. That's why we must get our bags and ourselves aboard that bomber without delay. We're opposed by an adversary worthy of our best efforts. At present, he has all the advantages. Even that of being only a merciless, nameless shadow. Think of it, Watson. In a few hours, we'll be flying out over the Atlantic.
We're flying over New York, sir.
New York, eh?
Yes, sir. We've been cleared by radio. Non-stop, Washington.
What is that book that so engrosses your attention, Watson?
A book on the quaint customs and manners of America. We must be halfway across, and I've only got to page 37.
For your information, my dear fellow, we are now flying over New York.
Flying over New York? Gracious me. What do you think?
Embassy car, Mr. Holmes.
You're being very helpful, Mr. Lang.
Detective Lieutenant Grogan of the Washington Police.
How do you do?
Welcome to Washington.
Thank you. This is my associate, Dr. Watson.
How do you do, sir?
How are you?
I suppose I should say, how are you, buddy? What's cooking?
Oh, come along, Watson.
Oh, it says in the book. What's cooking?
Grogan had charge of investigating the Grayson case for the Washington Police.
Any new developments, Grogan?
None, Mr. Holmes. We're glad to let you have our complete file. And, of course, we'll cooperate in every way.
Thank you. I shall appreciate your help. Especially as I'm unfamiliar with your country.
Oh, yes, of course. This is your first visit. Oh, there's the Lincoln Memorial.
Most impressive. Oh, by the by, Mr. Lang, thank you for your cablegram. I received it just before I left London.
Cable? I sent no cable.
About our reservations at the Hotel Metropole.
Why, no. We thought you'd stay at the embassy, of course.
Look at that. Well, since some strange person has taken such an extraordinary interest in my welfare, I think I shall stay at the Hotel Metropole.
Oh, Mr. Holmes, there's the Washington Monument. There's the Capitol, Mr. Holmes.
Magnificent.
We're expecting you, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you.
I questioned everybody known to have been in that club car, as a matter of course. Sir Henry Marchmont confirms that Grayson had contact only with the people on this list. Now, he had a drink with Senator Babcock. He chatted with a Miss Pringle about some mice she had in the cage. And he picked up a book dropped by Mrs. Jellison. Not very much to go on.
How many of these people have been attacked already?
I've heard about your deductions, Mr. Holmes. Well, Senator Babcock was held up on his way from the station, with nothing taken. And Mrs. Jellison's home was ransacked that night.
And she found the book that she carried from the train literally torn to bits.
That's right.
Miss Pringle?
Well, Miss Pringle says someone released the mice from the cage during the night sometime, and she found the cage torn apart.
What happened to the mice, I wonder?
An intriguing line of thought, Watson, but not essential to the case.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Grogan, they're still looking for the document. I'd very much like to have a look at that club car.
Well, that'll be easy. I have the car held in a siding in the railroad yards.
Good.
But we've searched the car thoroughly, Mr. Holmes. We couldn't find a thing.
Well... What are you doing? What's this?
Mr. Holmes, your trunk.
Trunk? I have no trunk.
It says right there.
To Sherlock Holmes, Hotel Metropole. How was this trunk delivered?
An expressman brought it, sir.
What's the name of the company? Do you remember the license number?
Naturally, I didn't notice that. I just signed for it.
All right, thank you. That'll do. Well, this trunk's not locked.
Great Scott. Poor chap.
You recognize him, Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Who was he?
The man we're looking for, John Grayson. His real name is Alfred Pettibone. British Secret Service.
Why should they send the body here?
Obviously to frighten us.
Or to tell us they know that Sherlock Holmes is on the case.
Gentlemen, they knew we were on the case as early as their attempt on our lives in London. They're much too intelligent to believe that a corpse would frighten a trained detective. No, I rather think they intend this as a message. And they wanted to be sure that I'd be here at the Hotel Metropole to receive it.
Message? What do you mean?
They want us to believe that they found the document. And therefore have no further use for Grayson.
Well, if that's true, then we're done for.
I'm not so sure that it is true, Watson. If they have the document, why are they wasting time sending me this? No, it's an attempt to throw me off the track. Grogan, you've a police laboratory, of course.
Certainly. I'll see what I can find out about the body.
Yes, whatever marks it reveals. And the trunk. A microscopic examination. Everything about it. The lining, the blanket in which the body is wrapped, everything. Let nothing escape.
We have the best police laboratories in the world, Mr. Holmes.
I beg your pardon, Lieutenant Grogan. You see, I'm so accustomed to working quite alone at my lodgings in Baker Street that I sometimes forget the more modern scientific methods so particularly effective here in America.
Well, if there's anything there, they'll find it, Mr. Holmes.
While you're doing that, I'll take a look at the club car. Coming, Watson?
Here we are, Mr. Holmes. I have the porter, as you asked, and the railroad company sent Mr. Moore to unlock for us.
Delighted. How do you do? Very good. Let's go in.
This way, gentlemen. Well, it looks as if the police have made a thorough search.
Whoever did it, it wasn't the police. There have been visitors here since our friend Grogan.
My goodness, look at our car.
Talk about a blitz.
I say, Holmes, if Grayson hid anything in this car, it certainly isn't here now.
Not necessarily, Watson. If you'll help me put this place in some kind of order.
Yes, sir, boss.
This would go about here, I imagine.
That's it, boss. Yes,
and,
yes.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, that's certainly more like it. Yes, sir.
Thank you. That'll be all. Watson, will you be Mr. Grayson for the moment?
Grayson? Huh, if you want me to, old man. What do you want me to do?
You're having a drink at the bar.
Oh, drinks. Oh, that's a bad idea. Drink at the bar. Bring me a whiskey and soda, will you, Stuart?
Stuart? Sorry, Dr. Watson, but the bar's closed.
Oh, it says the bar's closed.
According to Grogan's reconstruction of the scene, let me see. Yes. Grayson pauses at the bar while Senator Babcock moves across and sits down here. Do you mind being Senator Babcock for the moment, Watson?
Oh, Going up in the world.
Sit down, please. Now, Miss Pringle is seated there. Over there, Watson.
Hmm? Now, Miss Pringle.
That's right, the mouse woman.
Oh, the mouse woman.
Watson, over here, please. No, not there. Not there. That's Senator Babcock.
Oh, pardon me, Senator.
Sit down, please. Now you're Mrs. Jellison.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Holmes. He ain't Mrs. Jellison. He's the young lady.
What?
Sir Henry Marchmont was sitting right here, and Miss Jellison was right here. She's a sort of a big, fat lady.
What did Grayson do that attracted your attention so particularly to Mrs. Jellison?
The little man, he retrieved her book.
And the young lady sitting here, didn't she converse with the little man?
No, sir. That young lady didn't have no converse with no one. When the little man lit her cigarette, she ran back and said, "Thank you very much."
But you have matches here for your customers.
Oh, yes, she called me, and I saw a cigarette, and I knew she wanted a match.
And Grayson used one of his own matches?
Dog it. Oh, yes, he took a folder from his coat pocket.
Did he put the match folder back in his pocket, or did he give it to the young lady?
I don't remember. I was fairly busy.
Try to remember.
Well, if I should try to doomsday, I couldn't rightly say just what happened to that match folder. Oh, yes. I remember just one important thing.
What?
When the little man lit her cigarette, he said something very peculiar.
What was it?
He said, "Permit me."
Oh. Well, gentlemen, I'm extremely grateful to all of you. That's all we can do for the present, I think. Since the place was torn to bits after the murder of Grayson, the attacks on Senator Babcock, Mrs. Jellison, and Miss Pringle, I'm convinced that the document left the club car long before these events. But how? By whom? And who was the mysterious young lady whose cigarette Grayson lighted? Did anyone meet the young lady?
He sure did.
He? Who was he?
Tall, handsome, in a uniform.
I see. I suppose you wouldn't remember what kind of a uniform.
I certainly would. Lieutenant. Navy flyer. My boy's in the Army. He's going to be a flyer, too.
Splendid. Did you happen to hear them say anything?
Oh, I didn't happen. I just couldn't help hearing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, what did they say?
Oh, yes, he said he had 3-day leave. He had to move fast before the big part of her aunt was giving him. Then, too, he put a ring on her finger, and they both looked mighty happy.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way you're looking right now. Ken, the way I'm looking myself.
Come on, Watson. That's the girl. I told the head I could swear to it.
Is the address there?
All there. Right in our laps.
And also right in the lap of Sherlock Holmes.
That's the least of our worries. The head could handle 10 like Holmes.
I hope so. But don't underrate that Englishman. I have several friends who did. They now grace some of the best prisons in England. Yes, sir?
I talked to the catering company. It's quite all right. They could hardly refuse me. It's the Acton Company.
The Acton Catering Company. Yes, sir. I know what to do. Pop over there. You're going to work for the catering company.
Right.
When you get in the house, find out all you can. Katie.
Yes?
You're to go as a guest.
Will it be safe?
It'll have to be. I'll try and get in the girls' room. Unless you hear from me, carry on as we planned.
Flash Gordon. Seems a very capable fellow. Sports pages. These Brooklyn fellows seem to be arguing with the umpire. Story thing.
What are you eating, Watson?
Gum?
Oh. Put it away.
I've never seen you take an interest in the society columns before.
It's a concern I'll drop at once, I assure you, Watson.
You found what you're looking for? Oh. How do you know this is the girl?
It would be an extraordinary coincidence, wouldn't it? If more than one naval lieutenant in Washington were to become engaged in the last few days to a girl from New York whose aunt was giving them a reception.
By Joe, you must be right. She's a pretty girl.
Yes. He's walking around with dynamite in our handbag. 625 Wardlaw Place.
Who is it?
Me, Pete.
You can't come up here.
I did, though.
One get you two.
That party's gonna be awfully dull after this.
Let's not go. Let's go away and get married. You've only got one more day.
That's an idea. No, we can't do that to Auntie. I'll tell you. Let's sneak a look at the new apartment.
It was awful sweet of Auntie to give us the whole floor of this house for our apartment. The least we can do is let her have the fun of showing it to us.
Okay. Let's face the party.
I'll get my bag.
Thank you.
Oh, no, you don't. That's the way I got them.
How do you do? So glad you could come. This is Mrs. Oh, dear, what is your name?
Ruxton.
Of course, I know it as well as my own. And this is Mrs. Vale.
How do you do?
Isn't it?
Quite.
Oh, of course.
Any luck?
Not yet.
That must be Lieutenant Merriam with Miss Partridge over there.
Certainly glad to hear the news, Pete. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Major. Thank you.
You're a lucky guy, Pete.
I'll see you later.
3rd floor, 1st door.
Right. I'll wait there. You bring him up.
Thank you, sir.
A toast to the happy couple.
A toast.
Very good.
Happy landing. May I have one of those, certainly?
Me too.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Merriam? Telephone, sir. Navy Department calling.
Oh, yes. Be right back. Lead on, McDuff.
This way, sir.
Matches. Match me, darling.
Dig them up.
Thank you.
Oh, Pete, hold it.
You can keep them, Major.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Not for me, thank you.
No, thank you. Why up here?
They said it was private. There's a phone in here, sir.
Hey, it's my new apartment. Miss Partridge didn't want me to see it till after it was finished.
Here you are, sir. Quite a smell of paint, sir. In here, sir.
Thank you.
We should get some action, Sir Henry, with Sherlock Holmes in Washington.
Yes. I don't mind telling you I'd give anything to get my hands on that document.
Yes, I know.
Or at least know that it's in safe hands. Thanks.
Engaged today and married tomorrow. No, thanks. Have you a match?
Miss Partridge?
Yes?
Lieutenant Merriam asked if you would come to the new apartment.
But he's not supposed to see it yet.
The new apartment? He must think you're already married.
Yes, I don't dare let that man out of my sight. Excuse me, will you please?
Surely.
Oh, I'm so sorry. May I?
Thank you.
This way, please.
Oh, I know the way, thank you. Peter, where are you?
Well, here we are, Grogan.
Good connection.
We'd better go into the party.
Well, I think you better go in first, Mr. Holmes. I'm not very good at this sort of thing.
I think you do all right.
The only possible explanation.
Mrs. Partridge, forgive my intruding, but is your niece the kind of girl who would just disappear in this manner of her own free will?
Well, ordinarily, of course not. But the girl's in love.
In love? Well, of course, if they're in love, that's...
Even so, they'd naturally tell you of their destination.
Really, I've no idea. Oh, but they'll be back here again tomorrow. You see, I prepared an apartment for them. An entire floor in this house.
By the by, Mrs. Partridge, I gather the rug you ordered for the apartment was not entirely satisfactory.
Oh, those tiresome workmen. I told them not to come in here this afternoon, but they did.
And walked out with the rug, which they no doubt informed you had been sent by mistake and would be replaced tomorrow.
Yes, but however did you
Quick,
know that?
show me the apartment.
Yes, there were two rugs there. One for the living room and one for the dining room.
All your workmen wear rubber-soled shoes, do they not?
Oh, but yes, always. Their company requires them to.
Nevertheless, there have been leather heels on this floor. And a woman's heels. Very recently, I should say. Not yours, Mrs. Partridge. But recently enough, so that no dust has had time to settle in the imprints. Stay over there, please. There seems to be a struggle over there. A woman's footprints disappear and a man's leather heels come round and stop there. Either she was carried out in the carpet or else... Where does that door lead to?
Why, it's a dressing room.
Perhaps an ordinary skeleton key.
Try it. Watson, this is a matter for you, I'm afraid.
Excuse me.
Who is he?
Is it Miriam?
Peter!
Take it easy, Mrs. Partridge. Let the doctor examine him. How is he, Watson?
Nasty crack of the head. Nothing serious, thank heavens. Is there somewhere where you can lie down?
Of course. Poor Peter. Take him to my room.
Yes, son, put your arm around my neck. That's the old chap.
Mr. Holmes, you must find Nancy.
Quite.
Poor Peter.
That girl disappeared right from under our noses. It's unbelievable. I better try to trace that truck.
That won't lead us anywhere. Our antagonist is too clever for that. But the girl must be found immediately. You're sure the police chemists found nothing definite in their examination of the trunk?
Not one thing pertinent to the case.
What about Grayson's body and the blanket it was wrapped in?
Nothing.
Every object connected with this case has some kind of story to tell. Do you think they'd mind if...
The laboratory is completely at your disposal, Mr.
Thank you. Dr. Watson and I will go there at once.
The usual findings on the trunk, Mr. Holmes. Bought in Washington, been banged about a good deal. All labels removed.
And the body?
No marks of any kind.
Very well.
If you need me, call.
Thank you. Watson, please.
Just tidying up a bit.
This blanket is beginning to tell me many things.
Really? Don't say so.
It only remains to translate them properly. Yes. And just as I thought. This blanket has had a most varied history. It's been on many a sea voyage. The latest not 6 months ago. Since then, it has been used to wrap a multiplicity of objects. Carvings of teak wood. Candle snuffers made of pewter. And furniture.
Furniture?
Yes. Teak wood leaves an unmistakable stain. Pewter rubs off easily. And there are evidences of wax drippings. But what particularly concerns us, Watson, is the furniture. Looks like a chair. Louis the 15th. In yellow and maroon satin. What do all these things suggest to you, Watson?
Let me see. An aunt of mine, Matilda, lives in Brighton. Very old-fashioned. Very aged.
Exactly. Antiques. We've a lot of ground to cover before nightfall.
Ground? What ground?
If necessary, all the antique shops in Washington. A-A-N-T-I. There we are, antiques.
Antiques? What connection is there, Louis XV's chair with this partridge girl?
This sliver of wood came from a Louis XV's chair that had once been wrapped in that blanket. From other evidences the blanket supplies, I deduced that it's been used in an antique shop. And whoever controls those antiques murdered Grayson and kidnapped the girl.
What?
That's it, Watson. Come along. Before the girl's kidnapper becomes her murderer.
Fed up with all this shopping for antiques.
We must keep searching, Watson. The girl's in grave danger. Hello.
Hello? Oh, sorry. What is it, Holmes?
This isn't the place it seems to be. Look, Watson. Those cabinets. Obviously imitation, and yet they're priced as if they were authentic.
Buyer beware and all that, eh, Holmes?
Watson, I feel certain this is it.
This is my purse.
May I? Thank you.
What kind of a joke is this? Oh, don't bother to answer. You can tell the police all about it. And you shall, I promise you.
But there are no police here. Haven't you noticed? We are quite alone. I sent for you to ask you a few questions.
You always send a rug for your guests.
It was a very nice rug, Miss Partridge.
It's not my idea of a method of transportation.
No, I'm sorry about that, but I'm afraid it was unavoidable.
But why? You've no right to bring me here like this.
I've always found it wise to take what rights I can get. Miss Partridge, you have a document which I must have.
Document? I have no document.
It won't do you any good to deny it.
But I do deny it. I don't know what you're talking about.
You'll remain a prisoner until you produce it.
How can I produce it when I haven't got it?
But you have. It was observed that on the train you had contact with a little British agent named Grayson. He gave you something. Where is it?
But I hardly even noticed the man. I wouldn't even have remembered him if I hadn't seen his picture in the paper. He disappeared or something.
He's dead, Miss Partridge.
Oh.
Now will you tell me what I want to know?
But I can't.
You won't?
I can't, I tell you. Let me out of here. He gave me nothing.
That's strange, because I know he spoke to you. There's something very curious about that door up there. To open it, you'd have to know the combination.
But I tell you, I spoke to no one on that train.
Now, didn't the little man try to be attentive to you?
Oh, he may have offered the usual courtesies. I don't even remember.
I see. I'm sorry. Aren't you spoke one of these?
Thank you.
And you're quite sure he said nothing at all to you?
Of course I'm sure.
Permit me. And you're certain that nothing passed between you?
I'm certain.
Mr. Howe, please. I must ask you to trust me with your bag a little longer. I have an eccentric interest in the linings of purses. It's a foible. You know Mr. Howe, I believe. Mr. Howe is a gentleman of unusual accomplishments. Under his influence, I've known people talk fluently who never talked before.
But I don't know anything, I tell you. Nothing. Nothing, I swear it. I don't know anything.
You stay out here. I'll go inside. I'll assume the character of an eccentric art collector. As soon as I'm convinced that this is the place we're looking for, I'll signal to you. And you get Grogan and bring him here on the run. But don't lose any time. An extra second may cost a life.
No, madam, I don't know who she is. But notice the modeling. It has good symmetry, good lines. Oh, I'll be right with you, sir.
No, thank you. I'll just take a look around. What an extraordinary cabinet. Spanish. Moorish influence. Imitation, of course.
It is not an imitation, it's authentic.
Oh, come now, my dear man. Ah. May I see some of these ceramics?
Those aren't for sale. They're Ming vases mostly, and they haven't been marked yet.
Well, that's really a very little consequence. You see, if they're genuine, I can tell to within a shilling what the international price might be.
If you please, sir, there are other customers.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, I'll just look around. Ah, what a very interesting collection of pewter.
That'll be $500. Now, would you just give me the address where you want it sent?
Yes, Mrs. J. Wellington, Jr. DuPont Circle.
Good night. I'll have it sent out in the morning.
Oh, dear. I'm most terribly sorry.
You've broken one of our best pieces, sir. Ming Dynasty.
Tang Dynasty. Not Ming. Definitely not Ming.
It is my business to know, sir. The pottery is Ming and worth $2,300. As we're closing for the evening, I must ask you to settle at once.
Oh, nonsense, my good man. Tang pottery is worth $600 at best.
Just a moment, please.
Yes, of course.
Hello?
What's going on up there?
A customer dropped a valuable piece of pottery. I'll finish with him immediately.
How can you say that it's Ming? 2,300 fiddlesticks. You asked $2,300 for something that's worth no more than $600. I demand to see the proprietor.
Now, wait
there
a
are
minute,
bureaus for the protection of innocent customers. Show me to the owner of this establishment, or I'll turn the entire affair over to my legal representative. Ming, indeed.
Just a minute.
What chicanery, what skullduggery. I mean to put an end to it this very night. Ming for Tang, indeed. And I won't be put off. Call the proprietor immediately.
Very well. Just a minute.
Yes?
This man's mad. An eccentric collector. I can't get rid of him. Insists on seeing you in person.
All right, stall him for half a minute, then send him into my office. I'll get rid of him, and quickly. Oh, how? No screams till the customer's gone.
You get downstairs.
Yes, sir.
I'm most frightfully sorry. I'm most frightfully sorry about the vase, but really, sir, your clerk is guilty of attempting the most obvious fraud. You see, he tried to convince me that I'd broken a Ming pottery when anyone could see that it belonged to the Tang era. Its value is no more than $600.
All right, you pay me the $600. We'll call the matter settled.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I'll send you my check in the morning. I see you know the London value of these pieces.
It's my business.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. You know, I think you're just the man to help me find some furniture I'm anxious to get. I'm most frightfully bored with the usual conglomeration of pieces that we can pick up on the other side.
What do you really want, Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
Herr Heinrich Henkel, or as you now call yourself, Mr. Richard Stanley. In 1914, secret agent of the German Kaiser. Since then, head of the most insidious international spy ring that ever existed.
You're wrong. A case of mistaken identity. I've been a respected member of this community for a great many years. I deal in antiques because of their rarity and beauty.
Merely a device to cover up your real business of transporting secret information to the enemies of this country.
Very interesting, but just a figment of your imagination. I am a very busy man, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Where is Nancy Partridge?
You're not looking for that girl. You're looking for a certain document.
Oh, dear me, no. The document's perfectly safe. You see, the man who has it doesn't know he has it.
That's a very pretty tale, but quite untrue. The only man who had any contact with Grayson on the train was Senator Babcock. The senator doesn't have the document. We took the trouble to find out. Permit me.
Thank you. Perhaps you've been misled by the common notion regarding the shape and bulk of state papers. They might easily have been reduced to a convenient size, you know. Say, a document no larger than a postage stamp.
Postage stamp, huh? That's a very interesting theory, but not supported by the facts.
And quite beside the point. Where's the girl?
She's not here, of course, but you're quite at liberty to look round if you care to.
Thank you. I shall do so. Interesting piece. Spanish, isn't it?
Moorish.
Oh, my error.
It's an amazing specimen. I assure you won't find what you're looking for there.
You stimulate my curiosity. This might be interesting. Were an incredibly inventive people, weren't they?
Yes, it was in shocking condition when I got hold of it. But I had it restored.
It's very lively now, but old-fashioned. If that's the best you can do, Mr. Stanley, I think I may safely examine the rest of the room.
Help yourself.
Thank you. Take your hand away from that drawer.
Mr. Holmes, you didn't think I was going to draw a weapon. I never touch the things.
How odd to find you squeamish.
That connects only with the shop.
You're very quick to say so. And yet a short while ago, I saw two other men in this room. And they didn't go back into the shop, so there must be another exit. And perhaps another room.
Yes, Mr. Stanley, what is it?
Bring Miss Partridge here at once. Excellent, Holmes. I see your voice hasn't lost its flexibility.
My hand hasn't lost its cunning either. When they come here, tell them to leave the girl with you and to clear out.
You think I'll do that?
Yes, you will. You're playing with lives now, Stanley. Not just the girls. Thousands, millions perhaps. And we don't intend to let one man have that much power. Not now, nor at any time in the future. I prefer you alive to face the retribution that's coming to you. But if I have to do it...
All right, Mr. Holmes. I suppose we must all meet our match sooner or later. That's enough, boys. Take your hands off him. Well, Mr. Holmes? Tell the clerk to go home and see the front door's locked.
Well, Mr. Stanley?
It's the last trick that counts, eh, Holmes?
I'll remind you of that later.
Miss Partridge, allow me to present Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the world-famous detective. He's come to rescue you.
I don't believe you.
Oddly enough, he's telling the truth. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and I did come here to help you. But I seem rather to have missed it. I'm sorry. I'm afraid you've had a bad time.
Oh, that doesn't matter. It's Peter. They say they'll do something to him if I don't tell them. They say they've got him.
Cheer up. He's quite safe. A tough customer like Peter isn't disabled very long by a clout on the head. He's all right.
All okay, Mr. Stanley.
Look here, Stanley. This girl knows nothing. I promise she won't even identify you.
Well, unfortunately, she knows enough to hang us. So do you. I'm surprised at you walking into a trap like this, but you see the position I'm in and what has to be done. Katie, how? It will give me great pleasure to attend to Mr. Holmes personally. Easter, and the girl's yours.
It's the police!
Open up, that's the police.
Holmes, where are you? You all right? Holmes! Where are they?
Thank heavens you're safe.
Quick! Stanley's escaped! All right, boys, bring them along. Come on, Lieutenant. Let's go, sir. Senate office building, double quick.
Come in.
I'm glad you're safe, Senator.
Safe? No man is safe. Look at the way my constituents snipe at me. I don't recall seeing your face before, stranger.
I don't think we've met.
Well, that explains it.
My name is Sherlock Holmes.
Glad to know you, Holmes. What's on your mind?
Senator Babcock, I'm here to inform you of great peril to your life. Richard Stanley, a dangerous criminal, is now on his way here.
Richard Stanley? Why, he's the most respectable citizen of Washington, has been for years. What could Stanley possibly want from me?
A document. From under the stamps of a letter given to you by a chap named Grayson.
Grayson? Grayson? Used to know a man. Grayson? Why, that's the fellow disappeared. Say, I got that envelope right here in my wallet. Now, what does Stanley think could be under these stamps?
A secret document of grave import. Reduced to microfilm and concealed under these very stamps.
Thank you very much, Mr. Holmes. That's just what I wanted to know. I might have missed this microfilm if you hadn't led me to it.
I seem to have underestimated your capabilities, Mr. Stanley.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Your famous powers of deduction and observation made you very well in Limehouse or Soho. But here in America, I believe you're out of your depth.
If so, the verdict of history will be severe indeed.
You nervous, Sherlock Holmes?
I must confess to a marked irritation. Do you, mind if I smoke? Thank you. The whole course of the world might be changed by your acquisition of the microfilm.
Oh, it will be, and for the better.
You a match?
You can keep those.
Thank you.
And now, if you'll pardon me, Mr. Holmes.
Why don't you do something, Holmes, if that thing's so all-fired important?
The English senator. Cricket, old boy, always cool in the crisis. The last trick, eh, Holmes?
Yes, the last trick.
Say, you're a smart fellow, Holmes. Here's the microfilm, Holmes.
Thank you, Senator.
I say, Holmes.
This is the microfilm with the document on it. It'll be in the proper hands within the hour. As I told you, Mr. Stanley, the man who had it didn't know he had it.
Come on, let's go.
Well, it'll be nice to get home to Baker Street, eh, Holmes?
Yes. But this is a great country, Watson.
It certainly is, my dear fellow.
Look, up there ahead. The Capitol. The very heart of this democracy.
Democracy? The only hope for the future, eh, Holmes?
It's not given to us to peer into the mysteries of the future. But in the days to come, the British and American people will, for their own safety and for the good of all, walk together in majesty, in justice, and in peace.
That's magnificent. I quite agree with you.
Not with me, with Mr. Winston Churchill. I was quoting from the speech he made not so long ago, in that very building.
Who's there?
Stewart, sir.
I say, we're not at Dover yet, are we?
No, sir, but there's a message for you, sir, in the wireless room.
I'll be right there.
Over in 15 minutes. 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 Over in 15 minutes.
Oh, bless my soul. I must have dropped off right in the midst of our most interesting conversation. My dear young lady, what must you think of me?
Oh, please. I knew you were tired, so I kept very quiet. I wouldn't have awakened you for the world.
You're very kind.
Oh, you were telling me about your roses.
Yes. My roses, my beautiful roses. I'm proud of my roses, sinfully proud. Oh, yes. We must be getting into Dover. Well, bless my soul. Yes, indeed.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
I beg your pardon. Yes. There are the White Cliffs.
You know, I've been dreading this moment.
Why now?
Well, you see, I have some exposed film in my camera, and they might make me open it. The customs, I mean. I should so hate to lose my little pictures.
Oh, dear, that's too bad.
I wonder, it would be a great favor. Would you mind taking care of it for me? Till we get through the customs, I mean.
Well, I don't quite know.
If you'll just say it's yours. Being a clergyman, you're not subject to such rigid inspection.
All right. Just a harmless little deception, eh? All right, my dear, all right. Oh, dear, it nearly fell overboard.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Are you courier for the Royal Museum?
Right.
Bringing in the Pearl?
That's it. I'll have it out for you in a jiffy.
I say, that's a clever dodge.
Needs to be for this, believe me. There you are. That message, sent to me on the boat. It was a hoax to get me out of my stateroom.
Oh, there you are. I was afraid that...
My dear, they didn't even question me.
Oh, how could I ever think?
Don't try. Just send me one of your photographs, will you?
I'll be happy to. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Why, Giles!
Come on, get in. How many times must I caution you, my sweet, not to speak until doors are shut?
I'm sorry. I didn't expect you to meet me.
Oh, I couldn't deny myself that pleasure. Now, I mean, you're more beautiful than ever.
I'm glad to be back.
Yes, and we're glad to have you back.
We?
Oh, an old friend of yours turned up quite unexpectedly. He's been asking for you.
Who's that?
I found him prowling round your room, making wistful little noises like a dog.
No, it can't be.
Yes, my dear, the creeper.
I'm not going to the flat.
Oh, you'll be quite safe. I have him under lock and key. Now to business. What luck?
See for yourself. I stuffed it with paper to stop it from rattling. It's absolutely the biggest pearl I've ever seen. I don't understand.
You've been had, my dear, properly had.
My dear Conover, forgive me if I take the liberty of returning the Bourgeois-Pearl to its lawful owners. Devotedly, S.H.
Sherlock Holmes of Baker Street.
Well, you might tell me what you've been doing.
One thing at a time, old boy. Let me get off this makeup. Oh, I'm as stiff as a varnished eel.
It still doesn't answer my question. What have you been up to?
A little bit of hijacking, old boy. Reach into the inside pocket of that coat that you're about to throw aside. What do you find there?
Pocketbook?
Open it. Take out what you see. Your fingers have now closed on a matter of 50,000 pounds.
What? Can't be real.
Real as death, old fellow. The blood of 20 men upon it, down through the centuries.
Where do you get it?
From a charming young lady named Drake. Alias Yvette Tejou, alias Lisa Vanini.
Never heard of her.
No. Nor of Giles Conover either, I fancy.
Well, I can't say that I have.
That's the incredible thing about it, Watson. This man pervades Europe like a plague. Yet no one has heard of him. That's what puts him on the pinnacle in the records of crime.
What's he do?
Everything and nothing. In his whole diabolical career, the police have never been able to pin anything on him. And yet, show me crime without motive, robbery without a clue, murder without a trace, and I'll show you Giles Conover.
That's amazing, Holmes.
2 years ago, he disappeared from his usual haunts. And I've every reason to believe that he... Oh, here it is. I've every reason to believe that he's back in England again. If I could free society of this sinister creature, I should feel that my own career had reached its summit. Where is that stuff?
Then you think Conover's behind the theft of this pearl?
I was never more sure of anything in my life. Excuse me.
Oh. Thanks, George.
Shh. Listen. Pearl, quick, hide it.
Turn on that light. Why, Mr. Holmes.
My apologies, Lestrade. I was expecting Mr. Giles Conover. Come in, won't you?
Good evening, Dr. Watson.
I take it Scotland Yard has been notified of the theft of the Bourgeois-Pearl?
Yes, but...
Give it to him, Watson.
What? Well, I never.
There's a fine way to treat the Bourgeois-Pearl.
I assure you, Lestrade, I shall not feel safe until this pearl is in the deepest vault of the Royal Regent Museum. I'm telling you, Digby, I should be glad to see the last of your precious pearl.
Well, precious is a feeble word, Holmes. Look at its flawless skin. Its matchless symmetry. It's a miracle of beauty.
Miracle of horror?
Steady on now. Isn't that a bit strong?
Is it? Think of its blood-stained history. Think of all the misery it's brought to the poor wretches who laid greedy hands on it. Alexander Borgia died twisted and black to poison. Carlos of Spain became a dribbling madman. A disastrous jewel, Digby. The world would be much better off if it were sunk in the ocean from which it came.
Oh, really, Mr. Holmes? We'd hardly treat a national treasure in such a cavalier fashion. If you'd kindly open the case, Inspector.
Certainly, sir.
There, all snug and safe.
You call that safe? I've told you Giles Conover's after that pearl. Under the circumstances, wouldn't it be better to place a guard over it?
It has 100 guards over it at this very moment.
Well, my eyes must be failing me. I don't understand. What's to prevent anyone smashing the glass and pinching it?
Would you like to try it, Dr. Watson?
Oh, I certainly would.
Don't bother smashing the glass. I'll open it for you. Ah, there. Help yourself. Mr. Digby. Don't be alarmed, Bates. Merely a demonstration. May I have the pearl, Doctor?
What, again?
That allays your fears, I trust, Dr. Watson. If you'll step into my office, gentlemen, I'll explain to you what happened.
Oh, how does the thing work?
Electricity, the high priest of false security.
As you have noticed, gentlemen, we are well protected. Every article in this museum is so placed that its removal creates a contact.
Very ingenious. Tell me, Digby, just where in the building is the control of this ingenious electrical safety device?
The wires are in this room. Naturally, they're not exposed.
No, naturally. Well, Watson, I think our usefulness here is ended. Goodbye, Digby.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
It's been most interesting. Thank you very much. Goodbye, Mr. Digby.
Goodbye, Doctor. Good day, Inspector.
Good day, sir.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, well, accidents will happen.
Well, you're going...
I knew it.
My apologies, Digby.
Oh, no harm done, I assure you.
On the contrary, I'm afraid the greatest harm has been done.
I beg your pardon?
Are all the objects of art in this room connected with your protective system?
Well, most of them. But why?
This Hogarth etching, for instance. Is it connected?
Most certainly. It's a priceless original.
Take it down, will you, Watson?
Not me. Once bitten, twice shy.
Oh, tosh. I'm not afraid of guards and gongs.
But I don't understand. What's happened? Why don't the gongs ring?
I'll tell you why. Because your whole elaborate system here isn't worth a brass farthing.
But...
It all depends on 3 wires. Behind that strip of Chinese embroidery.
Who told you?
You told me yourself. Huh? Said the wires weren't exposed. The only unexposed wall space in this room is behind this embroidery. While you were picking up those ornaments, I disconnected these wires. Just to show you how absurdly easy it would be for anyone, far less ingenious and far less resourceful than Giles Conover, to do the same thing. Now, will you listen to me when I tell you to lock that pearl in the deepest, darkest vaults in all England?
Stop, thief! Stop, thief!
Open the door!
Gone. It's gone.
A workman took it, sir. Bates is after him. I don't understand. The gongs never rang and the shutters never closed.
No, the wires were disconnected. Thanks to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. A grateful nation owes you a memorial, Mr. Holmes. You demonstrated your cleverness, oh, most brilliantly.
You did put your foot in it, and no mistake, Mr.
Nonsense. How was he to know that anyone...
How? Oh, elementary, my dear Watson. By his deductive reasoning, of course.
Oh, shut up, Lestrade.
Deductive reasoning. Giving away the Borgia pearl like a pound of tea.
50,000 pounds. Not tea.
What's this?
The man who wanted to be caught, Mr. Giles Conover.
How are you, Mr. Holmes?
But I don't understand. This is one of our workmen. He's been employed here for weeks. He came highly recommended.
Yes, I've no doubt of it.
Every employee of this museum is scrupulously investigated.
My dear Digby, Mr. Conover is a man of infinite resource and precaution.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Just a bare chance that his accomplice, Miss Naomi Drake, might not get away with that pearl on the boat from Ostend to Dover.
Pearl? What pearl?
Who are you getting at? Did you search him, Bates?
Yes, Inspector, but there's not a thing on him.
He might have swallowed it.
No, he hasn't got it. Or he would never have allowed Bates to catch him. While he was running away, did he stop? Did he meet anybody?
Why, yes, sir. As he went around the corner, he bumped into a woman.
Did you get a good look at her?
No, sir. Not good enough.
Ah, that's where you lost your pearl. That woman was an accomplice. Same girl that was on the boat, eh?
Possibly. In any event, may I suggest, Lestrade, that you hold Mr. Conover?
Oh, come now, Mr. Holmes. Haven't you made enough mistakes for one day? There's no crime, you know, in taking a job in a museum. There's no crime in running when you're being chased. Just what am I being held for?
Window breaking? Thank you, Mr. Conover.
Take him away, officer.
How long can you hold him?
Well, you heard what he said. Strictly speaking, we can't.
1 day? 2?
Well, make it 2.
Good.
Good? What's good about it? We don't want him. We want the pearl.
That's just what I'm getting at, Watson. One of 2 things has happened. Either the woman he bumped into was an accomplice, in which case she has the pearl, or he managed somehow to conceal it in his flight. If he had to stick that pearl in some makeshift hiding place, he'll never rest until his Confederates have it safely in their hands. He'll try to send them a message. We ought to give him every opportunity.
But how?
May I suggest, Lestrade, that he's permitted to have his food sent in from the outside?
Huh? Oh.
Here we are, Inspector. Here was his tray, just the way Mr. Conover left it.
Oh?
10 to 1, there's a message in there somewhere.
Yes? What makes you so blinking sure there's a message in it?
Because he asked me for a lend of me pencil, that's why, and he promised me £1 if I'd keep me mouth shut.
Oh, he did he? Cunning, ain't he? Well, there's some that's cunninger. He's got the wrong pig by the ears, as Mr. Giles Conover. Yes. He hasn't got Mr. Sherlock Holmes to deal with. Oh, nothing there. There might be a note stuck on underneath. Oh. Seeing eye, that's what you've got to have.
Nothing much gets by you, Inspector.
Oh, we all slip up once in a while. No one's infallible, you know. That's funny. Gotcha, Mr. Giles Conover. Here, hang on to this. What is it? You'll soon see. A note to his accomplice, or I'm a Dutchman. Yes. Fancy me pulling Mr. Sherlock Holmes' chestnuts out of the fire. Here she comes. Thought he'd fool me, didn't he? Bless the little man. This'll tell us where the Borgia-Pearl is. It means promotion for me, sure as you're alive.
What did it say?
What do you care what it says?
He didn't say where the Borgia-Pearl was, Inspector.
Just you clear up this truck. That's all you've got to do, and see it gets back to the restaurant.
Very good, Inspector.
Holmes and his theories.
Now then, my girl, get a move on, will you? What are you staring at that plate for?
Oh, I ain't staring at it. Now I'm washing it. See?
Well, I ain't paying you to go to sleep on your feet, you know.
Go on, you old bag of grease. Wash your own dirty dishes. See?
Here, you can't do that there, here.
Lovely weather, ain't it?
Well,
Holmes, you drive me raving mad. Standing there scraping on that filthy fiddle as if you hadn't got a care in the world. All the time your reputation's been dragged in the mud.
My dear Watson, I really must caution you against hitting newspaper reporters in the teeth. It isn't dignified.
Well, he deserved it, the idiot. But how did you know I struck a reporter?
Observation, my dear fellow. You come in here with 2 copies of the morning paper. A thing you never do unless there's an article you wish to clip for your files. You talk about my reputation being dragged in the mud. Obviously, I've been the subject of a scurrilous attack in connection with the theft of the Washington+Pearl.
Well, you certainly have. This article practically suggests you stood to profit by the deal. And it implies that you were working with Conover.
Yes, I'm afraid I'm for it, Watson.
Indeed you are. But how did you know I struck the fellow?
Oh, that. Well, you come in here, jumping off the handle at me, berating me like a mother who boxes her child's ears after snatching it from under a train. A very human impulse, Watson, and one that suggests that you've been taking up the cudgels on my behalf.
What a remarkable deduction.
Not when you consider that the skin is missing from the first and second knuckles of your right hand.
Didn't hurt?
Good old Watson. It's like you to stand by a man who's been discredited.
Oh, rubbish. We've been in tighter spots than this.
Not many, I'm afraid. Well, come along, old fellow. What have we here? Kippers.
Kippers, splendid. I'm as hungry as a bee on a flower.
Come in.
Don't get up. Haven't got a minute. I've just popped in to tell you.
I know. To tell me that you can't hold Conover any longer. In fact, you've already let him go.
Never doubt. How did you know?
Well, I mentioned, my dear Lestrade, you know as well as I do that you can't hold a man for more than 48 hours without bringing a charge against him.
That's right.
Have one, won't you?
Thanks. Oh, I've got to be off.
Off to solve another baffling crime, I suppose?
Oh, you might call it that, Doctor, but to me it's just another routine murder.
Oh? Who is it?
A bloke named Harker, military man.
Harker. Horace Harker?
That's right, you know.
I've heard of him.
Horace Harker? Yes, I remember him. He's a major in India. He's retired.
Uh-huh.
So he's been murdered, has he?
Right. And his back broke. Well, I got to be off.
Wait a minute. What did you say?
Eddie's back broke. You know. Spine snapped.
That's it.
That's what?
It's come at last, Watson. The thing we've been waiting for.
Hold on. Keep your shirt on. There's no mystery about it. He must have fallen down in the struggle. That's all.
Nonsense. Here's your coat, Watson.
Oh, what is all this?
We're giving Lestrade a hand.
Oh, the Washington+Pearl, we can't afford...
Washington+Pearl we're after. Come on, Lestrade.
I don't want an hand.
Washington+Pearl, we're out giving Lestrade a hand. Lestrade... I'm coming. Lestrade a hand. Lestrade all morning, noon, and night.
And this is exactly how you found him?
Yes, sir. Nobody's touched him but the police surgeon.
Back broken, eh?
Snapped clean, sir. Died instantaneous, the doctor said.
Lestrade, would you mind if Dr. Watson has a look at him?
Not at all.
Thank you. Watson, I'd like to know whether the break is cervical, thoracic, or lumbar. And I'll wager it's lumbar.
Oh, tosh. Who found the body, Murdoch?
She did, sir. His housekeeper.
Oh.
Said she came in to clear away his supper things and found him lying there. And that's the first and last word we've been able to get out of her.
Oh, it is it? Well, I'll soon get a word out of her. Here, you.
I shouldn't do that if I were you, Lestrade.
Why not?
The woman's suffering from shock. Close to catalepsy, if you ask me.
I ain't asking you, Mr. Holmes.
Naturally.
Get her out of here, Murdoch. Get her to an hospital. Can't you see she's suffering from shock?
Come on now. Nobody's going to hurt you.
Major Harker seems to have thought very highly of Napoleon.
He's rather overdone it. I don't think much of that one.
Where was the break, Watson?
One of the lumbar vertebrae, as you thought. The third vertebrae. I can't for the life of me imagine how it happened.
I can.
Oh, really?
Well, it happened just as I thought. The housebreaker comes in through this window over here. So you see, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I shan't be needing you after all.
Simple as ABC, isn't it?
Yeah.
The murderer comes in through that open window. Major Harker's having supper over there with his back to him. Carry on.
Well, he tiptoes over behind his victim here. Harker rises, they come to grips. They barge all round the room, bang into this table, dishes go every which way. Harker falls and breaks his back.
Simple, ain't it? So simple, my dear Lestrade, as to be almost childish. For instance, will you kindly explain how the dishes that were on this table could have been knocked off in the struggle and this silver milk jug left standing and all these knives and forks and spoons in perfect arrangement?
Well, Mr. Holmes, if it's the psychology of knives and forks and milk jugs you're talking about, I beg to be excused.
I'm trying to account for this broken china, Lestrade. That's the outstanding feature of this case, whether you know it or not. All these broken plates, plaster ornaments, bric-a-brac. Why was all this china smashed? Nothing else disturbed. Why?
Yes, and how about his back being broken? A man can't just fall down and break his back in that casual way, you know?
Right you are, Watson. External forces indicated. There's no doubt about it. Major Harker's back was broken deliberately.
I suppose you're going to tell us just who did it.
Yes, I think I can. I've never known but one killer who used that technique.
What? Oh, come on. He's dead and done for.
You remember him?
Am I likely to forget the Oxton Creeper?
Oxton Creeper?
Oxton Horror, I called him.
A monster, Watson. With the chest of a buffalo and the arms of a gorilla. His particular method of murder is back-breaking. And it's always the same. A third lumbar vertebra.
How horrible. Do you mean to stand there and tell me you think he's still alive? Why, they got him 2 years ago, trying to escape from Devil's Island.
Did they?
Yeah.
I wonder. I'll lay you odds he's in London at this very moment.
All right, Mr. Holmes, you stick to your theories, I'll stick to my facts.
That's fair enough. Do me a favor, will you?
Anything your little art desires.
This broken china. Have it all swept up carefully and sent to me at Baker Street, will you?
All right, but what do you want it for, anyway?
Oh, just a souvenir. Come along, Watson. I think our usefulness here is ended.
Mind you sweep it all up, Mr. Hunt.
As a matter of fact, Watson, what I did not tell Lestrade, since I can't prove it, is that the Hoxton Creeper has always been Giles Conover's right arm when it comes to killing.
When you heard that Major Harker's back was broken, you suspected the Creeper, eh?
Naturally, it can't be mere coincidence. But the Creeper comes back into the scene just as Giles Conover reappears in London.
I see, but how does Harker tie up with that gang?
In the foggiest notion.
Buy a box of matches, gentlemen.
But there is a connection. Well, Harker wouldn't be lying there now with his back broken. My surmise is that Giles Conover's lost the Borgia-Pearl and is trying desperately to get it back, just as we are.
You really think so?
I'm just as sure of it as I am that we're being shadowed at this very moment. Eyes front, Watson. Come on. Listen. Have you got your revolver?
Yes.
Now get it ready.
What?
Get it! No, thank you. Come on, Watson. Conover's gang. We're on the right track, Watson.
Due primarily to the brilliant work of Inspector Lestrade. Brilliant work of Inspector Lestrade. Rubbish. Lestrade couldn't even see the stripes on a zebra. Hello, housekeeper held. Arrested the housekeeper. Whoa! How could a little woman of that size break a man's back? Lestrade's an idiot. Well, what the dear public don't know, the dear public won't worry about. Funny. Had it here a moment ago. Extraordinary thing. Oh, see. What do you think? Listed it. Oh, what would Holmes do? I know. Reconstruct. Yeah, reconstruct it. That's it. Well, I'm sitting here. Got the cutting. Paste. Reach for a pipe. Matches. Line. Well, then, it ought to be... So it is. Eureka! Well done. Just pure deductive reasoning. When I was telling Holmes about that, he could have done better himself.
The first door on the right, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, madam.
Come in.
Dr. Watson, I believe. Is Mr. Holmes in?
But he's out, sir. He'll be back any minute. Won't you come in and wait?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sit down, sir.
Thank you.
Have a cigarette?
No, thank you, no. The doctor won't allow me to smoke cigarettes. But, may I?
Yes, yes, sir. You'll find matches on the table.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, my health has never been the same since that dreadful affair at Farnsworth Castle.
Farnsworth Castle? Farnsworth case. I thought I recognized you. Just a minute. I'll tell you who you are.
Really?
Yes. Simple deduction. The bowed shoulders of the scholar, the open countenance of the churchman. You must be Lord Farnsworth's brother, Archdeacon Farnsworth.
No, sir. I'm no archdeacon.
Oh, and you're the man who found the body in the bathtub.
Oh, it was the butler who found the body, and it was in the cupboard.
Oh, strangled, wasn't he?
No shot.
Oh, shot, yes, of course, shot, yes. Lord Farnsworth's uncle, wasn't it?
I am Lord Farnsworth's uncle.
Oh, of course, my mistake. You're Lord Farnsworth's uncle. And your name is,
Theophilus Kirby, Lord Farnsworth's uncle and biographer.
Of course, I remember you well. Holmes will be very glad to see you. He may be a bit late. By the way, as he isn't here, if there's anything that I can do, same training as Holmes, pure deductive reasoning. For example, I can see that you're in trouble.
On the contrary, sir, I've never been happier.
Oh, my mistake. I've never been happier.
I've been looking for some little token of gratitude which I could give to Mr. Holmes. And at last, I think I've found something that he'll appreciate. It's Dr. Johnson's great dictionary, an early folio.
Early folio?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson's dictionary? I'm sure that he'd be very excited about that. It's very kind of you. Yeah. I'm a bit of a book collector myself.
Oh, no, please. I've inscribed a little dedication. It may be a little flowery, perhaps, but, well, it's straight from my heart to his, I hope. And it's just a little private.
Oh, yes, of course, a little private. And you want him to be the first to read it?
That is so. You're very understanding, sir. Thank you very much. Now, I'm afraid I must go. I'm sorry
Don't you worry about the book, sir. I give you my word that Sherlock Holmes will be the first person to open it.
Oh, that makes me very happy, sir. Very happy.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, Doctor.
I'm sorry you can't stay. $17.57. Early folio. Must be worth a lot of money, huh? Huh? Who? Mrs. Pennyweather? No, Mrs. Pennyweather here. This is Dr. Watson. Mrs. Pennyweather. Wrong number for Penny. I don't think Holmes would mind if I just... come in, come in.
I brought you tea. And when Mr. Holmes comes in, see that he eats a bite like a good soul.
Certainly, my dear. I'll be glad to.
I have a hard time getting him to eat.
Oh, good afternoon, Mrs. Hudson.
Oh, I just brought you tea.
Thank you.
And be sure you drink it.
I will. Hello, Watson.
Well, too bad you're late. Old chap was here to see you.
Oh?
Sorry to have missed you.
What old chap?
Theophilus Kirby. Lord Farnsworth's uncle. You remember the Farnsworth case?
Yes, indeed I do. And I remember Theophilus Kirby, too. Quite a scholar. And like most scholars, poor as church mouse. What's he want?
He brought you a present. First folio of Dr. Johnson's dictionary. This book must be worth a lot of money. He's written an inscription in it, bless his heart, out of gratitude.
That's very nice of him.
Like to have a look at it?
Have a cup of tea?
Oh, thanks, old boy. Put it down there.
Gratitude is a rare quality in these days. Let's see what he wrote. Watson, have you been smoking a cigar?
No, the old boy smoked one.
Kilby wasn't a smoking man, as I remember him. And even if he were, he wouldn't be smoking a Bolivar, cabinet size, imported from Havana, especially for connoisseurs.
Well, if you're not sure of him, there are plenty of samples of his writing on the shelves over there. Why don't you compare them
Don't
with...
touch that book.
What?
Give it to me. I'm sorry, Watson, but unless I'm greatly mistaken, you've been entertaining Mr. Giles Conover. Stand back from that book.
Great Scott! He meant that for you.
Oh, that's very gratifying.
Gratifying?
Certainly. Conover wouldn't go to all this trouble to eliminate me if I weren't in his way. And obviously I am in his way because he hasn't yet found the Washington+Pearl. And as long as he hasn't... All right, let me have it. Here. All right. Yes, yes. Hold Lestrade. Yes. What? Say that again. Don't touch a thing. No, not a thing. You understand? Right. We'll be with you.
What is it, Holmes?
Another murder. Little old lady. With her back broken.
No.
Yes. And in a litter of smashed china.
That was exactly how I found my sister.
There. Steady, my dear, steady.
You live here, Miss Carey?
No, Mr. Holmes. I teach history at a school in Cardiff. I came home today for the holidays. This card, Mr. Holmes. The very last thing she did.
For my dear Ellen, to inspire her and her pupils with love. A gift for you. What was it, Miss Carey?
I don't know. I'll never know now. I found it on the desk over there. She was writing it when... Oh, why do you stand there? Why don't you find the beast who committed this dreadful crime?
Look here, Miss Carey. There's just one question.
There'll be quite enough questions. You come along with me, my dear. What you need is a sedative. I'll telephone for a nurse. There, my dear. You'll be quite all right.
Pitiable. Poor little woman. Back broken, eh?
Snap clean, sir.
Same as Major Harker's?
Yes.
Once more we find the body in a litter of smashed china. What do you make of that?
Coincidence, I'd call it.
Would you?
Yeah.
Curious, isn't it? Two murders at the opposite ends of London. People who couldn't conceivably have had anything in common, their backs broken, and smashed china around their bodies.
Well, things do get smashed in the struggle, you know.
Including the plates that are hung in these wire racks on the walls.
When a lady gets hysterical...
She may do many desperate things, but my dear Lestrade, she does not run around the walls like a mouse.
Oh.
Those plates were taken down and smashed deliberately. And it was done after she was killed and not before.
Is that another one of your little theories, Mr. Holmes?
No, it's a fact. And easily demonstrable. If you lift up that body, I think you'll find there's not a vestige of broken china underneath.
Well, just to prove you're wrong. Here, lend a hand here, Bleecker.
Right, sir.
Easy does it.
What did I tell you? Look at that, Lestrade. That china was broken after her dead body was flung there on the floor. But why? Why was it done?
Well, as I see it, we're dealing with a monomaniac. And after each and every one of these murders, he goes into a bestial fury and smashes things.
But why bric-a-brac and nothing but bric-a-brac? Why should a murderer who's strong enough to break Major Harker's back vent his bestial fury by breaking up dinky little cups and saucers when he could just as easily break up a large chair or smash a big table?
There's no accounting for the workings of the criminal mind.
Oh, nonsense. He follows a pattern and there's purpose in it. would you have those broken fragments collected and sent to me at Baker Street, please?
Oh, what's the use? You won't find any fingerprints in them.
Perhaps not. But broken china is the one thing these murders have in common. We've got to get to the heart of this mystery, and quickly, too. Don't you realize there's a monster at large in the city, bent on destruction? We don't know why, we don't know where. But somewhere, at any moment...
That cat, I'd swear I put her out. That's funny. I'm sure I drew those library curtains.
I must disagree with the newspapers, Watson. The Hoxton Creeper, to the best of my knowledge, is not a madman, or if he is, then there's method in his madness. And that method, I'm convinced, is supplied by Giles Conover.
You think all this broken china is just a blind to make it look like the work of a madman?
On the contrary, my dear fellow, this smashed china shows purpose, it shows motive. And purpose and motive are the last things a sane man would wish to imply if he were posing as a madman.
Why smash the china?
The killer didn't choose to smash the china. He had to smash it.
Oh? Had to? What for?
Oh, possibly to cover up something else that was smashed. Some object. Identical in all three cases. The clue that we're looking for.
Why mess about with the plaster? You'll far more chance of finding the clue you're looking for in the china because there is much more china.
There's too much china, Watson, and too little plaster. Which, leads me to suspect that the greater conceals the less, and that the china was smashed to cover up the plaster.
Curious notion. Oh, look. Bird. Matter of fact, I had thought of it myself.
Oh, did you really? Then it was very tactful of you not to mention it. Yeah, what do you make of this?
Cocked hat? Soldier, eh?
No doubt of it. Found up a bust. Military hat. Late 18th century, I should think.
That's funny. Here we are in the second house. Here's a shoulder with a bit of a chest and a medal on it. Looks as if it might have come from the same bust.
Mm-hmm. Identical. Same plaster, same proportion, same military subject. And this piece comes from the house of the second murder, while these pieces came from the house of the first. We're getting warmer, Watson.
Okay, wait a minute. I got something over here. Here we are. Look, here's a nose. There's a mouth and a bit of a chin from the third house.
Put them under this hat.
The little corporal himself.
Right, Watson, Napoleon. A single statue made up of fragments from 3 different houses.
Identical busts in each house, huh?
Yes. Put the pieces down here. I told you this china was smashed to cover up something else.
Well, why smash Napoleon?
Think, Watson, think. Something was hidden in one of those busts. Something that Conover is looking for.
You don't mean that...
Precisely. The Borgia-Pearl.
But how did it get in the bust in the first place?
That's what we're going to find out. We're going to get hold of that guard. The one that chased Conover down the street the day he stole the Borgia-Pearl. Get your hat. I'll get a taxi.
The hat, I'll get a taxi. Borgia-Pearl, Napoleon bust. I was driving about London looking at broken glass. Borgia-Pearl.
Here we are, sir. This is where I nabbed him. He's baiting it along here like a frightened rabbit when I come up from behind and make the pinch.
That isn't true.
Would strike me dead if it ain't, sir.
Isn't it true that he went in there?
Well, he was at...
Out with it, man. Did he or didn't he?
Well, as a matter of fact, he did duck in there. But I made the pinch right on this very spot, like I said.
Can you tell us exactly what happened?
Why, yes, sir. He runs in here full leg and up to this door.
Was the door open?
Just like it is, sir. But when I got here from the head of the stairs, the door is bolted. So I starts to climb in this here window.
Was the window open, too?
No, sir. I had to force it. When suddenly the door opens, out he nips, and I made the pinch right on that very spot, like I told you.
How long was Conover out of your sight?
I should say less than a minute, Mr. Holmes. That's why I didn't want to mention it before. I didn't think it was important.
Important? Great heavens, man, come on. Oh, I beg your pardon.
Gentlemen, this is not my sales room. This is my workshop. What can I... Oh, it is you, is it? Catching more thieves today?
Ah, no, I was explaining here to Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Thank you, Bates. That will be all.
Thank you, sir.
Good day, Bates.
Good day, sir.
Mr. Gilder, our time is short, and believe me when I tell you that lives are at stake.
Lives?
Please answer my questions as briefly as possible. Last Tuesday, at 10 minutes past 12, where were the workmen who are usually employed in this room?
It was a dinner hour. They were out.
On this table over here? You had some busts of Napoleon standing to dry, did you not?
Yes, I did, but how did you know?
Never mind that now. How many were there?
6. Just like these busts of Beethoven. 6 busts of Napoleon Bonaparte.
6. Are you sure? No more, no less?
Yes, I'm positive.
Watson, look sharp, will you? Go to that door to the alley and do exactly as I tell you.
Huh?
No, not her. Just do it. Leave your stick.
Think I am an alley cat?
Go outside and close the door. Stand over there, will you?
Me?
Yes, please. Ready, Watson?
Ready, Holmes?
All right. Come in quickly. Close the door. Hold it. Turn round. Take 2 steps forward. Stop. Wait a moment. Look round you. Now look over here. Wait a minute. Now run over here. Pause a moment. Look at these wet plaster busts. Look back to the door. Take a coin out of your pocket. Come on, hurry, man, hurry. Now stick your finger in one of these wet plaster busts. Go on, do it, do it. Put the coin in. Put it in, put it in. Now smooth over the plaster. Cover up the hole. Mad. Both of them. 54 seconds. That's close enough. Conover could have done it faster. But he acted on his own while you had to wait for instructions.
You mean to say that...
Precisely. Conover stuck that Borgia pearl in one of those 6 wet plaster busts of Napoleon.
What?
Gilder. Gilder, what happened to those 6 busts?
You are not the first one asking me that.
No, who was the other?
A woman.
When? Was it Wednesday? The day after the thief was taken?
Yes, it was.
Amy Drake, Watson.
Amy Drake?
What did you tell her?
The same as I'm telling you. They were delivered, all 6 of them.
Yes, but to whom?
To Amos Hodder's art shop on Kensington Road.
Amos Hodder. Watson.
Huh?
What an amusing statue. Most amusing.
Is it? Why?
Because I say it is. Pretend to be interested.
What? Oh, fine bit of modeling, Holmes. An amusing statue. It's amusing.
Sit down in that chair.
Huh?
Sit down in that chair. Let no one else in or out of that door.
Attend to the gentleman, Miss Bittinger.
Yes, Mr. Hodder.
Oh, mercy me.
Here, what have you broken now? I never saw such a one for breakage. You aren't even worth half wages, you aren't.
Well, it's my poor eyesight, Mr. Hodder. I can't help my eyes now, can I?
What have you broken this time? One of the Copenhagen vases, eh? Well, that makes 4. There was the Flying Mercury yesterday, and the 2 Napoleons the very day you came.
I never broke the Napoleons, I tell you. I found them that way.
Mr. Hodder, may I trouble you?
Oh, I beg your pardon, I'm sure, but this sort of thing is most trying. What can I do for you, sir?
My name is Holmes, Sherlock Holmes. I'm doing a little private investigating in connection with some busts of Napoleon that you purchased from George Gelder's plaster shop. I understand there were 6 busts of Napoleon here on Wednesday morning last.
That's correct, Mr. Holmes.
Now, let me see. I think I heard you say that 2 of the busts of Napoleon were broken by accident.
Accident? That clumsy girl. Oh, Bittinger, put the vases up on the shelf before you break the rest of them. And sweep up this litter, will you?
Yes, Mr. Hodder.
Well, don't be too hard on the poor girl, Mr. Hodder. Accidents will happen, you know. Now, tell me, You say that 2 of the busts were broken here in the shop. A 3rd went to Major Harker, a 4th to Miss Carey, and a 5th to Mr. Thomas Sandiford.
Yes, sir. And by the strangest coincidence, all 3 of those persons...
It was not a coincidence, Mr. Hodder.
Bless my soul.
Tell me, what happened to the 6th bust?
Why, I sold it the same as the others.
To whom? Do you remember?
Some doctor or other. I have his name in my account book. My memory for names is rather poor. Now, where is the wretched thing? Yes, here we are. Let's see, it would be Wednesday or Thursday.
Any luck? The best of luck, I think, Watson. Fortunately for us, we arrived here before Naomi Drake.
Here we are. Sold to Dr. Joseph Caldecott, 13 the Burnham Road, Streatham.
Good. That's just what I wanted. Take down the address, will you, Watson?
Got a pencil?
Dr. Joseph Caldecott.
C-A-L-D-E-C-O-T.
13 Burnham Road.
Good. Streatham.
This name and address, Hodder. Is that your handwriting? Look carefully.
Why, no. The doctor is mine, but the rest is changed.
Quiet.
Oh, bless my soul, it's a forgery.
Ink eradicator has been used, and another name written in. Think carefully. Can you remember the name of the doctor that you wrote here?
Oh, dear me, I'm poor at names, you know. This is very much like it, very much.
Clever devil. She's made the names enough alike to throw you off. This telephone. Is there an extension in there?
Why, yes.
What are you going to do, Holmes?
Shh, quiet.
You were right, Giles. It worked. Like a charm. He'll be off to the wrong end of town presently. Yes, I'm leaving at once.
Thanks, my dear. That's what I wanted to know. I shall start at once. Meet me in 2 hours. Same place, eh? Why, of course he's here. He's sitting right behind me.
Then I shan't meet you. Not till you got rid of him.
Oh, nonsense, my dear. His devotion to you is most touching.
But I tell you, I just can't stand having him near me. Giles. Giles.
Yes, my dear. What is it?
I thought you'd hung up.
Oh, hardly, Naomi. I understand there's another doctor. Same name. Not listed in the directory. Are you sure you've given me the right man?
Positive. Dr. Julian Boncourt. B-O-N-C-O-U-R-T. 18 Chelsea Place.
Thank you, my dear. Don't worry about the creeper. I'll take care of him. Watson, telephone Dr. Julian Boncourt, B-O-N-C-O-U-R-T. Tell him to take the bust of Napoleon that he bought here and go to the nearest police station. Just let go, Naomi. I'm here to catch you.
Think you're clever, don't you? You can't hold me.
Come on down.
What charges are against me?
Peddling matches without a license. Constable, put the cuffs on her. She's an accomplice in 3 murders, possibly 4.
Leave me alone. You can't do this to me.
No one there. I can hear it ringing.
Better drive slowly. I wouldn't like to get picked up with our passenger in the back.
Oh, it's pretty quiet back there. What's he up to?
He's got Naomi's vanity case. Dr. Boncourt.
Yes, yes. What you want? Don't you see I'm busy?
I shan't keep you very long. I've only come to ask...
How did you get in here?
Who are you? I'm also a very busy man. Doctor, I understand you bought a bust of Napoleon a few days ago. I should like to look at it.
What are you talking about? Will you get out of here, please? Or must I call the police?
Stay away from that telephone, you old fool. Where's that bust?
Unfortunately, it is broken.
Broken?
Yes, you will find the pieces over there. In the container.
But you won't find the Washington+Pearl there, my dear Conover. Drop that gun. The bust is still unbroken and quite safe.
You're still full of your little surprises, Mr. Holmes.
Back up against that wall. I don't like your work, Conover. I've seen quite a bit of it, both here in London and elsewhere on the continent. Don't like the smell of you either. That underground smell, the sick sweetness of decay. You haven't robbed and killed merely for gain like any ordinary halfway decent thug. No, you're in love with cruelty for its own sake. And the world will be much better off without you. It will give me great pleasure to...
Don't move. Hold your hands up. That's it. You know, I'd never have thought of disconnecting those wires if it hadn't been for your excellent example at the Royal Regent Museum.
It has been said that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Oh, yes, I'm willing to learn from an old master hand. Come now, where's that bust?
Dr. Boncourt took it with him to the police station.
Oh, that's a very feeble lie. You'd hardly have let it out of your hands. You'd have been afraid Dr. Boncourt would have met us coming in.
Us?
Yes, you know whom I mean. Creeper! Creeper! Stay where you are. Now listen. Go to the room at the head of the stairs. The one with the 2 glass panels in the door. You know what to look for. And if you should meet Dr. Boncourt on the way, pay him your respects.
You'll hang for this, Conover. Just as Naomi Drake will hang. We caught Naomi Drake, you know.
That's too bad. That's her lookout.
No, it's your fault, Conover. It's all your fault. Poor Naomi.
Now stay where you are.
I shouldn't let the creeper know if I were you. He wouldn't like it if he knew you'd let her down. He's crazy about Naomi. She's a very pretty girl.
Now you're trying to scare me, Mr. Holmes, but it won't work. You've got nothing on Naomi. She'll get off.
Oh, no, she won't. She lost her head, you see, when she found she was cornered. Grabbed up a large pair of shears and stabbed Dr. Watson to death. She'll hang for that, you know, and it's all your fault. You got her into this. And you won't raise a hand to help her, will you? She'll hang by her soft white neck. The trustees will put their hands on that pretty body of hers and throw it in a quicklime. Stay back. Do you hear me? Stay back!
Put your shoulders up. That's it. Give it some more. Go on, put your shoulders to it. Give it some more. That's it, it'll go. Holmes, thank heavens.
Come in, gentlemen.
But where's Boncourt?
He's quite safe. Lestrade, send one of your men upstairs, will you? Tell Dr. Bunko that all is well. Gently, though. He's old and his heart is weak.
I see.
That's why I didn't dare send him out of the house. He's up there.
All right, up you go.
You see, if he'd run into Conover and the Creeper...
Conover and who?
The Creeper, my dear Lestrade. That you said didn't exist anymore.
Where is he?
You'll find him in the laboratory. Conover, too.
Go on.
You won't need your revolver. No handcuffs.
Oh.
You got them?
Yes.
Did they find the bust?
No.
Well, what did you do with it?
My time was very short, Watson. So I put the bust in the last place I thought the Conover would look for it. He literally brushed by it as he came in.
Amazing. And the Borgia-Pearl's inside that?
If it isn't, I shall retire to Sussex and keep bees.
Look, there it is.
By Jove.
The Borgia-Pearl. The blood of 5 more victims on it.
Well, anyhow, Conover was one of them.
What's Conover? No more than a symbol of the greed and cruelty and lust for power that have set men at each other's throats down through the centuries. And the struggle will go on, Watson. For a pearl, kingdom, perhaps even world dominion. Till the greed and cruelty are burned out of every last one of us. And when that time comes, perhaps even the pearl will be washed clean again.